Hey gals, guys, and everyone else, I'm Hayze, this is Armoured Brownies, and we finally have every single part of Mercy staff printed and ready to be assembled. As you know, we have already gone some way along the route of assembling some parts. We have some parts sprayed, we have some parts ready to be sprayed, we have some parts ready to be base coated and then ready to be sprayed. We also have a plastic bag full. These are all pieces that I've printed and gone back and redesigned. So we have a previous handle section, which has been redesigned, and I'll show you. We have the previous head section, and there's a whole load of extra things, like this thing, which is for a bearing joint, which has been redesigned 6 times. 6 times! This entire gun, I've been over that this gun needs reprinting because this is awful and I've ruined it. Let's get rid of all of that and let's just go look at the beauty of everything that is printed. I'm jumping about a bit because I haven't been 100% lately, but blah, blah, blah. Let's not get into stuff like that. But. Oh, so you're all by now ridiculously familiar with the wing flaps. These are all ready to be sprayed. They are lovely, they're gorgeous, they just need some cellulose spray. We're gonna put them to one side and we are going to ignore them. This bit, the nozzle, for want of a better word, that is ready to be, I want to base coat that. I want to give it a gloss base coat along with, I want to gloss base coat these bits as well. But for the moment, these bits, I'm going to put them to one side because we're going to be using them in a minute. But this bit will actually affix onto the end of here later. I'm going to do that after I install the LED in there. And also I might put an acrylic rod inside there, if you have a look at that, so that the LED in there can light up what is effectively a stream. So we could have like the healing stream coming out, and may even have it come out further. And we could have an acrylic rod you put in and out for photo shoots. There's an idea. Ooh! Oh, you can make a really cool practical effect by heat wrapping some acrylic rod around thing, or maybe even lathing something out. I wonder if I can use the wood lathe on acrylic. I'll have to check that out later. But that can go over here to this little pile here. So what else do we have? We have the entirely new handle section. Why have I reprinted this entire thing? Because I am more certain about the electronics that are going into this project. It's been redesigned because one of the problems I had with my old design, the parts didn't slot in organically, which would have created a lot of work for myself. But I've also done things like ease of use changes. For example, this is the old handle section. I showed it to you last time. The battery goes in there. However, once the battery's in there, and this bit's glued on, and this bit's glued on, how do you get to the battery in case something goes wrong? And it's a LiPo battery, so things are capable of going wrong, and they're capable of going wrong in a way that will burn your hands down. If we take this, you might notice it looks fatter than this one, but that's for a very important reason. If we take off the support material, we can see there's one bit. Okay, so you see this comes in 2 parts that clip together, almost, because this bit's a little bit warped here. Basically identical, except this bit comes up. So once this is assembled on there, this bit will slot in here and allow you access to the battery. How will it hold on? It'll hold on in the exact same way every other part of this staff is assembled, with magnets. You can see here, there's little slots here for magnets. Let's throw away all of this support material without throwing away any of the other actually important parts, shall we? Previous design, battery went in there. New design, battery slots in there, and that bit goes on top. And then you can access the battery and take it out as and when you need to. Magnets, they should just slip into, these should just slip into these slots. Yes! Okay, so we have these slots here. These magnets just go in sideways, should still be able to attract to each other. Let's get this here, let's get this nice and in shot, and boop! And then that goes there. So with, where is it? Where's the next part? Okay, so yeah. So this bit will go there. There is a bit of a unfortunate gap between the two where the magnets protrude a little, but I'm okay with that. Once this is all sprayed, I believe this bit's sprayed black. Once it's all black, it will hardly show up. But the important thing will be, this bit opens up, battery goes inside, and then, boop, and then battery goes inside, and then cover goes on, and we can access the battery later, which is really important for maintenance. Okay, so since I've talked quite a bit about how I've taken 3D models from online and modified them for my use, I thought I'd actually show you a bit of the process. Here we have a program called Autodesk 123D Design. It's a free piece of software and it's actually pretty simple to use. And right here we have part of Mercy's staff. So I want to just get that to the correct angle I want it to be at, and then I press D to drop it onto the base. And what we want to do with this is create a space inside it for a battery to go. So I'm just going to show you how I simply and easily, maybe not accurately, do it. Any of you who are actual 3D modelers probably want to look away, as this might make you sick. What we want to do is build a negative model of what we want the area inside this piece to be when it's hollowed out. So we're going to take rectangle sketch. We're going to choose to sketch on the actual plane. You see this little crosshatchy bit here, and then we're going to make sure we're looking at it directly on, and then we're going to just click from one side to the other and make sure it's more than 25mm by 42mm, because those are the dimensions of the batteries, and we want to give a little bit of extra wiggle room. There we go. Then if we click this, we can adjust it just a little, just to make sure it is dead center. Now, would I say this is the best way to do any of this? God, no. I have very little clue what I'm doing when it comes to 3D modeling, so this might break the illusion that I'm some sort of expert. However, I do plan on moving on to a different piece of software soon to model Mercy's wings, because this program is a little bit limited when it comes to the actual scratch building modelling of mechanical things, and I found it very limiting. But taking and doing alterations of a model I have to hand, it's been a godsend because it is so simple. Now that we've got this rectangle, how we like it, and also if we check from a different angle from up at the top, we can see sort of where it will actually pop out from underneath there. So we want to just raise this up a little bit more, because we don't want that bit to sort of drop below there, but we need a little bit of extra height there to fit the battery. And we're just going to extrude out. And if we extrude out, which is going to create a new fresh object inside there. A good way of double checking where you are is actually change it to outlines only, so you can see inside your object. And here we can see where it's going. And I want this to go just before these little indents here. If we look back to materials, this little indent here, because if I go too far, it has a chance of intersecting with that and actually creating a weaker prop. So we're going to leave that there. And we know it's in there because we can see it in our materials and in our outlines only view. The way we then hollow this out for our battery to go in is by going to subtract, select the actual object that we have downloaded online. As I've said before, this is part of Mercy's staff from My Mini Factory. Jill Cope is the original model. And of course, the first step you should actually take when altering a 3D model you found online is to ask for permission. And then you get a warning. Because this is an STL, it's a big mesh. And taking what is basically a shape you've generated in Autodesk and subtracting it from a big mesh means it has to calculate the new mesh, basically, and can take quite a while. So you just press OK, and then you wait a little bit. Now, sometimes it will give you an error with this if the mesh that you're working from isn't suitable from this, or at least 123D Design doesn't like it. At that point, you then want to use something like NetFab to heal the mesh, fill in any gaps, and sort of repair it. It's got an auto repair tool, so it's not that hard. And then you re-import it back to 123D Design, and there you go.
And there is our altered model. It's got the hole through it, and I've put a further hole through it because I'd originally planned on storing the batteries for the staff a lot further down the handle. I scrapped that in favour of keeping them in the handle. Once you have that, how do you create removable parts? Well, this is possibly the biggest bodge so far. It's literally a case of going, okay, so how do I want this, how big do I want this removed piece to be? It's like that whole section, I think. So yeah, we then take that and we then go up here and we go subtract. So we want that mesh, that model, enter, yep, Boolean warning, let that go. And then we wait for that to work. And there you go, we have this bit. So we then export this bit. Yeah, these are all my attempts to get parts of this staff right. So you export that bit and then you undo back until you get this part. And then we go intersect and we choose the mesh and we choose that. And then it will spare us only the part where they're overlapping, which gives us a second section of this bit, which will fit perfectly once it's printed in. And of course, if you want to create little indents for your magnets to go, you use the exact same subtraction method that I showed you to get the hollow part. And that's a really simple way to take 3D models made by people who are much, much better at this than you, or me, alter them to have electronics in them. However, the next design project for Mercy is going to be her wings, and I plan on, with some advice from some friends, actually approaching that as a scratch-built 3D model designed in Autodesk Fusion 360, because that looks really good. So I need to sit down with some tutorial videos and actually go through that when I have a spare moment. Anyway, back to the actual prop.
This is the part that all the flaps attach to, but I've altered it. Pray I do not alter it a second time. Let's take this support material out. We have our servo. We have our piece. Let us see if the servo will fit. Because I don't want to have to reprint this entire thing. Almost. Oh, yep, there we go. The servo just clips in. Oh my god, that makes me so happy. There we go. So that is the servo. This newly redesigned headpiece has the servos mounted directly to point out of there. The idea being, we will laser cut a custom servo horn to fit on there and go up and sit on the underside of this, the underside of this arm, and then the servo will flap it and close it, flap it and close it, flap it and close it, and that servo will do it. How about that? And it fits! Look at how it fits! It's all coming together.
And that's about everything we can fit in a single episode. So, if you want to find out what's in these packages, you're going to have to wait for the next video, which I promise won't be as long as this one took. Thank you for joining me. Remember to subscribe, like, and if this video has helped you out at all, comment below to let us all know.